The visual is not important here. The music is not important here. The voice is not important here. What matters are the words. If you cannot listen to the words, you do not belong here. If you understand this, welcome to the Fate Club. 8 billion souls reincarnated in this present time exist at the same point in space and the same moment in time, not as coincidence, but as the outcome of a long cycle of consciousness compression reaching a threshold where the old mode of existence can no longer continue. This period appears outwardly as chaos, acceleration, and systemic overload, yet at a deeper level it represents a simultaneous reconfiguration of how consciousness is processed through the biological form. The body is not adapting to the future, but responding to conditions that can no longer sustain identities built on fear, control, and separation. What is perceived as a global crisis is in fact a loss of compatibility between an outdated mode of consciousness and an environment that has already shifted. Systems based on linear time, authority, and performance are not collapsing through failure, but through completion. The perception of time changes quietly within souls reincarnated in this present era, as the past loses its power to explain the present and the future loses its function as motivation. Fatigue appears without a clear cause, and interest fades in conflicts that once demanded immediate reaction. The reaction-based survival mechanism, essential in conditions of constant threat, becomes redundant in a reality saturated with information. Instead of expansion, attention withdraws inward, appearing as retreat while actually signaling a recalibration of perception. Identities anchored in roles, status, and social masks begin to dissolve as they no longer provide stability. This process does not unfold at the same pace for all souls reincarnated in this present time, because each body responds according to its level of attachment to survival-based patterns. Some responses manifest as anxiety and overstimulation, while others emerge as slowing, silence, and a loss of the need to prove worth. What is often labeled as apathy is more accurately a reduced tolerance for unnecessary mental noise. Inner silence does not arise as a goal, but as a side effect of disengaging from constant alertness. Attention no longer escapes into future projections and begins to remain in the present without interpretation. The old model of consciousness that shaped souls reincarnated in this present era for millennia operated through comparison, judgment, and continuous reaction. Its stability depended on external authority, fixed identity, and a linear understanding of time. As these pillars weaken, orientation is lost, yet a different mode of processing reality becomes available. Higher levels of perception do not represent escape from the world, but a change in the filter through which the world is experienced. Reality ceases to feel like an adversary and begins to register as an unfolding process. Biological systems within souls reincarnated in this present time respond through changes in sleep, breathing, and energetic regulation. The body demands greater recovery because it is processing the collapse of old mental and identity structures. Memory shifts its organization with experiences resurfacing as sensations rather than chronological records. This phenomenon is not dysfunction but reorganization of consciousness. Past identities loosen without the need for forceful revision. Society mirrors the inner transition of souls reincarnated in this present era through polarization, informational overload, and the erosion of trust in authority. Institutions struggle to respond because they are misaligned with the changing frequency of collective perception. Pressure builds and appears as chaos, while its true nature is a passage between two modes of existence. Control intensifies where understanding fails because fear remains the final instrument of the old system. At the same time, a quiet withdrawal from constant reactivity unfolds. The inner transformation of souls reincarnated in this present time does not bring euphoria or a sense of exceptionality. It introduces an ordinariness that was previously inaccessible. Life ceases to feel like a project and becomes an unfolding sequence. Emotions arise and dissolve without requiring a dramatic narrative. Thoughts lose authority and become only one layer of perception. This state is often mistaken for a loss of ambition, yet it reflects a shift of energy from external validation toward internal processing. Motivation driven by fear of scarcity loses effectiveness. The relationship to work, time, and performance changes without revolution, yet with lasting consequences. Activities without inner resonance become unsustainable. Simplicity emerges as a natural result of perceptual change. 8 billion souls reincarnated in this present time share this transition without the need for agreement or collective understanding. The process unfolds across cultures and belief systems because it is not ideological. Each reincarnated soul responds according to its capacity to release outdated configurations. Some responses are visible and loud, while others are quiet and subtle. None are superior or inferior. What is ending does not end in collapse, but in a gradual loss of energy. Old narratives continue to repeat, yet they no longer resonate. New narratives have not yet formed because they do not arise in the mind. A neutral space appears without the need for definition. Within this space, reality is processed directly. This time is not exceptional because it is better than previous eras. It is exceptional because it reveals the limits of the old model in full clarity. When limits become visible, adaptation becomes unavoidable. Adaptation does not mean escape, but internal recalibration. The change unfolds quietly. If you understand this, welcome to the club.